of him that he's working. So, and by that time, it felt like I had just became the built-in babysitter. My mother, before I had to go to high school, I had two little baby sisters that my mother would wake me up extra early. Girl, that was when you had to be cute in high school. I'm jumping back and forth. Okay, middle school, I was ridiculed. I was depressed. I was everything. But by the time ninth grade came, well, my bully did come to my ninth grade center. But by the time 10th grade came, my bully left, the main bully that riled everybody up against me. They left. So it was like a new start. I could finally have a new start by high school. And that's when I would cake makeup all over my face. I would try to cover all these little ugly dark spots that I have on my face. Like, girl, back then, I wouldn't have shown y'all this. Y'all see the real true Keita. I was so scared to show my face. I caked and patted and packed makeup on my face because I couldn't let you see a blemish. I couldn't give you no reason to ridicule me. And I would talk with my mouth closed so that you wouldn't see that tooth that I had um, fell and knocked out. Like, so everything I do, it's a reason why I do it. And now it's just subconscious. I did get the tooth fixed, but now it's just something mentally. Like, I still, well, now my darn, jaw messed up from my slip and fall incident. But back then, I would barely open my mouth because I didn't want you to see that chip too. I would sit with my hands all over my face like this, like trying to cover my blemishes. I would pack makeup on my face. And my dad they didn't believe in makeup. You could not wear makeup. So I would sneak out to buy makeup. I had to sneak. I would save up my money, my lunch money, and I'll buy makeup and try to pack it on my face to where it would not be able to be seen. But see, back in the 90s, girl, they did black girls wrong. Y'all got black girl magic today. Like, y'all got makeup shades that actually, what in the world? There's some type of mosquito in here. Like, girl, we didn't have that black girl magic back then. Our colors look like red and orange. I would look like a whole Muppet around these parts. And my dad would be like, "You got on makeup. You got on makeup because you look flawless up under the bathroom light. But then you go outside in the natural light." I'm like, "No, I don't have on makeup. I don't have on makeup." "Go wash that off your face. Wash that off." But once I washed it off, I no longer was the person that I thought was cute. I wasn't that mirror image anymore because now you see my blemishes. You see my, I don't know. So I don't know. I was just always trying to hide myself. I wasn't pretty enough. I wasn't good enough to be friends with. I wasn't nothing. I like, and it became to where I did start hating my own self. I'm like, everybody else hates me. So I gotta be really bad. Like, I gotta be, you know. So come 10th grade, I got my first boyfriend. First boyfriend. Now, he was like kind of nerdy or whatever. Now, oh, that's the part I jumped over. I was the tomboy down to the girl. I would out climb the boys going to, climbing the trees or whatever. I was tough. I had to show I was tough as the boys. I was strong as the boys. I was this, I was that. So I used to wear like the big baggy clothes like TLC did back in those days. And big old gym shoes, big old baggy pants, big old huge, polo shirts. Like, that was cute. Like, we didn't have to be cute like that back in the 90s, which is crazy. So that's how I dressed. And I remember going to stay with my grandmother for a summer. And my grandmother, when I got off that plane, was like, "What in the entire, who is this?" My grandmother and my aunt was like, "No, no, goodbye. No way." They quickly took me to every shop in Chicago and bought me a whole new wardrobe. So basically, the person that my mother put on that plane, she said was not the same person that came back. When I came back, I was wearing my hair. I had got my hair permed. I used to I don't know what style I used to wear. I had a jury curl at one point, and then I had a, oh my gosh, it was crazy, but it was never permed. I never had a perm. So I had my hair permed, I had on makeup, I had on mini skirts. I discovered that I had a body, a cute body. I used to wear the shortest skirt I could wear because I'm like, oh, that got me attention. I would wear the tallest shoes I could find, the tightest, and it was like I just couldn't show enough because now finally I'm getting attention. Attention that is not bad, attention that is not being ridiculed and this and this and that. So that was the person that got off the plane basically. So my older sister did move away, and it left me in high school and the two little ones. Basically, I would have to get up before high school, pack diaper bags. I would have to get them ready, bathe them, and then I get ready. And that's the point I was trying to make, where I had to apply all that makeup, and I needed my umpteen time to change a million times because I got to be acceptable. I cannot go through this ridicule like I have been ever again. Like I got to be always acceptable, you know? No hair could be out of place. No, I started playing with nails and stuff. My nails, my feet, my everything had to be perfect because if something wasn't perfect, it gives you something that you can beat me up about and talk about me about. So that's when I got into that phase. Okay. So my sister, because she was epileptic, anytime she did something wrong, my mother would say it's not her, it's the medicine making her do it. So when she got older and became like completely outruly, like nobody could really even po- at all control her, that's when the other two young ones coming up behind her started trying to act the same way and emulate her. So it kind of became where those three straight cause havoc. But because I grew up in a different household, basically, when it was me, my older sister, and my mother and father, we grew up under strict rules. It became basically two sets of rules for Kita alone, and then the unruliness of the three. And anything that they did, I would always get in trouble for. Kita, you're the oldest. Kita, you're the oldest. You know better. Then it was times when my mother, I would be like, Mom, I'm tired of watching these kids. Like, can I do anything else? Like, the kids were so unruly. They didn't respect me. They didn't listen to me. It was just pure chaos. I hated summertime. It was just noise. It was fighting. It was arguing. It was, oh my gosh, like this is probably why I got PTSD. Like I have no attention span, why I don't have no patience. Like it was crazy. It was pure chaotic nonsense. And it got to the point where my mother basically did not want to even come home at times. She would always come home. My dad would always come home, but my dad would try to work more and more and more when he did return back to where, you just come home, sleep, get back out the door. So my mother, it would be times she would pull up and she would not even want to walk in the house because she already know what it is. Everybody's fighting. She couldn't even go to work without them constantly calling her a million times on her work line. Oh, this one did this one did that. And it was to the point where she was almost going to lose her job several times. It was just chaotic mess. And she would be crying. She would be overwhelmed. And that started the era of when I would try to talk to my mom. My mother would be always angry. And I would just say, Mom, blah, 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 blah. And what, Kita, what do you want? I'm like, why are you hollering at me? Like, I couldn't understand it. And my mother, I would be like, Mom, why are you always mad? And she's like, Kita, you just come at the wrong time. You come at the wrong time. And I'm like, so when is the right time that I could ever talk to you? I never knew when I could talk to her. So this is why I became this lonely person, like just myself, just alone. And everything the kids did, I would get in trouble for. Though I had to babysit them, it was like the kids, if they didn't listen to me, they didn't have no consequences behind not listening to me. It was complete chaotic mess. And I started to feel like, they just, it's something about me. Like, why do they be bad and get rewarded times over? I try to be the best I could, and my best is never good enough. I was never good enough. And that's where a lot of those feelings came from. Never good enough. Everything I did was wrong. If I tried to have the house together, the kids mess it up. Kita, why didn't you have the house together? Or if we would try to take turns doing dishes. I do the dishes, they come in and mess up every dish in the house. When it was my sister's turn to do dishes, she was allowed to lock the dishes up into the closet and nobody can use them. And I'm like, this is not how this should be. So anytime that I would say, Mom, they shouldn't be doing this, I don't know, mm, crazy. It was just pure chaos. And I just couldn't do anything right. My mother was always overwhelmed, always stressed. My dad was always working. So this is what I grew up in. I don't really have I don't know quietness. I don't know calmness. I don't know peace in a house. All I know is hollering and yelling and screaming. And that's crazy. That's crazy. And that's how I grew up. So that was me growing up. Then I got to, I had my first boyfriend, and then it just became to where me and my parents never talked. I never talked to any of my family, none of them. We didn't have much family because, we broke off from the family and moved here to Florida. So it kind of was just a aunt and myself. I mean, not myself, my mother's family or whatever. And that was pretty much it. So we didn't have family. I didn't have friends. I was just completely lonely and couldn't do nothing right. And it was almost like I would beat me up first before you can beat me up, because that's all I knew, that I do everything wrong. Everything I do it wrong. So I'm going to have to stop soon because I'm about to run out of time again. And I do know y'all ain't going to sit around and watch this whole video like this. So I will probably leave off about right there. That's when I am in high school, and I will pick this story back up. But girl, I mean, I didn't go through like abuse like other people went through. I didn't go through neglect. They didn't neglect us. They always took care of us. Like we always had a roof over our house. Our lights were never cut off. But it was like, it just wasn't, it was a bunch of people in one house that didn't love each other. Like I always refer to, we're family, but family is just people that have the same DNA and blood, but we don't act like family. We don't talk like family. We don't love. I don't ever remember being hugged. I don't ever remember being told, at thus far. Now I will continue the story, but no one ever told me they loved me. I didn't hear that from my parents. I didn't hear that. We didn't hear that in our household. We weren't loved. I mean, we were loved. We were loved. I know this looking back. We were definitely loved, but we weren't told that we were loved. So I always thought I was the worst person that you can ever come across. And I remember when I did start drawing. Now, this is one of the things that kind of hurt me. Like, everybody loved my drawings. I started drawing at like 11 or 12. Like, I was I don't know what you call those people, like a phenom, like someone that just does something amazing at a young age and you wouldn't expect it and is better than the adults. That's how great my art was. I don't even put time or energy in my art no more. So you don't see that. But girl, if you could see what I was creating at the age of 11 and everybody loved it, but when I would draw all my nice, beautiful pictures and I couldn't wait to show them to my mom, I'd be like, Mom, look at this drawing I just drew. And my mother was like, yeah, Kita, just put it on the refrigerator. I'm dealing with the kids. And I'm like, okay, not good enough yet. Like, I always felt like I was not good enough. But I'm really going to have to stop right there. Um, this is the second part, so if you missed the first part, please go back and watch that. Sorry for skipping around just a little bit, but when you trying to tell your life story, girl, goodbye. 40 years I've been on this earth, so it's kind of hard. Good. And please make sure to check out those Draw My Lives. Those kind of fill in some of the blanks. All right, guys, it's your girl Cadillac.